So I wanted to shove the guy off his bike and say, "Shut up!" Now, before you all get judgy-wudgy of me about this, let me explain. I had just made the turn to do the last 2.1 miles in the Portland, Maine half marathon. You can see the crowd. It's the path along the water, so you can see the crowd and you can hear them yelling, but you know you have 2.1 miles to go. Now, for those of you who have not done an endurance race, let me give you a little bit of information, because there are two types of endurance athletes. The first type are the ones who report, "Oh, I experienced a runner's high throughout." I'm not in that category. I'm in the category of, gosh, I think I might vomit my lungs up at any moment. Now, friends will tell you, they'll lie to you, of course, and they'll say, "Oh, John, you look like chariots of fire running," when you know reality is it's like the Walking Dead. Maybe the Jogging Dead. At any rate, so in times like this, I played a little game with myself, which was, who can I beat? Because we all know in life, it's not how you play the game, it's about winning, right? And I saw this guy ahead of me that we'll call Bob, not his real name. But Bob was looking like I was feeling. And I thought, I bet I can catch this guy before the finish line. And so over the next 3/4 of a mile, I had gained on Bob until I was within striking distance, with 1.25 miles to go. But that's when Guy on a Bike showed up. He pulled up beside Bob, and he was maybe one of Bob's friends or his coach, but he decided he was going to be Bob's coach that day. "Looking good, Bob, looking good." Bob is can't even speak because he's out of breath. And Bike Guy sees this strategy's not working, so he decides to shift to a different one. "Bob, you got a guy gaining on you, Bob. You can't let him pass you, Bob." Bob looks over his shoulder, sees me gaining. He speeds up a little bit, but then he fades back into his pace. And this dance continued over the next 1/4 mile. And I'm back here listening to this exchange, but slowly gaining on Bob. Now, at this point, the psychologist in me is thinking, "Oh, poor Bob. I should back off and let Bob win," right? But then, quickly overruled by the competitor in me, who said, "Listen, this is the gridiron. We're in competition. It's every man, woman, and cat for him or herself," right? So I kept my race going, and poor Bob is hearing the theme song from Jaws in his mind. And then I get just up astride of Bob's shoulder, and Bike Guy yells, "Don't let him pass you, Bob. What are you, a girl?" So I wanted to go over and shove the guy off his bike and say, "Shut up and leave poor Bob alone." But I needed all of my energy at this point just to keep going and to eventually cross the finish line, which I did. Thank you very much. And as I did, I turned and looked, because when you cross that finish line, you could see about 1/3 of a mile back. And do you know what I saw? No Bob. Bob was nowhere to be found. Bike Guy had successfully humiliated Bob, and not only not brought out Bob's best, but it interfered with his ability to perform. And friends, that's your lesson from today's story. When you're trying to motivate yourself or other people, using uncivil shame and blame approaches to motivation not only does not bring out people's best, it interferes with their ability to perform. So the next time you think about motivating self or others, remember the story of poor Bob and choose a positive approach.